Hey guys, what's going on? mEcHjaW coming at you with a little bit of Black Ops 2 map pack DLC Revolution gameplay footage. It's a mouthful, I know. I want to give you guys a little bit of a in-depth review, mildly in-depth review, on the maps for multiplayer and the gun for multiplayer, the Peacekeeper SMG. We're going to talk about the gun first, because it is the first time we've ever seen a gun in a map pack DLC, or a DLC in general actually, for a Call of Duty. And it's a decent weapon, I'm not gonna lie. It's not terrible, it's not overpowered, it's not underpowered. It's decent. It's a very balanced weapon, and I think it could be really good for certain situations. I'm not exactly sure what level this gun is unlocked at. I opened up the game, I'm level 42 when I opened up the game, or level 41, one of the two, and it was already unlocked, so I'm assuming that it's an automatic unlock. I'm going to throw up the specs for it here. As you can see, it has a fairly decent assault rifle fire rate, a not so spectacular damage, the range is a little bit better, and the accuracy is really where it excels at. This gun definitely plays more towards its assault rifle aspects than its SMG aspects. The damage output on it is not spectacular. There are very few situations where I felt that if I had fired one less bullet, I would have won. You definitely want to make sure that it is that it's a kill rather than just kind of guessing. As far as competition for other SMGs, you're most likely better off using other SMGs, at least in a rush game. This gun, the Peacekeeper SMG, was not designed to be a rush weapon. It's definitely more of an assault rifle, hang back, and kill people that way kind of weapon. Not necessarily a camping weapon, but not necessarily what's it called? Like a midfield weapon, I guess you could say. It's definitely a hangback weapon. As far as my personal opinion on it, I like it. It's different, I think. It's different enough to keep me interested, but it's not good enough to keep me using it all the time. So I mean, that's kind of a downfall, and you know, it's a mediocre weapon. I don't know. It's not terrible. It's not great. I'll just leave it at that. As far as attachments for this weapon, I really recommend that you put a quick draw on it, the quick draw handle, because it does have an ADS time. I'd say about a minute, or not a minute, I'm sorry, about 1.5 seconds to almost 2 seconds. It's a little slow, especially for an SMG. It definitely feels more like an assault rifle at that point. As far as the secondary attachment, if you were to put one on there, I couldn't even tell you. It does fine with the laser sight. As I told you before, it's not really a rush type weapon, and the laser sight really does cater more to rush type people. It does decently with that. It's not the best, but putting a scope on it, like an what's it called, red dot sight or anything like that, really adds to the accuracy. But I think it's almost unnecessary. The iron sights for it are really good. They remind me of the mEcHjaW iron sights, very decent iron sights. I don't ever put a scope on that thing. So I mean, it's up to you though, whatever your play style is. As far as perks, I always use pretty much the same perks: blind eye, toughness, fast hands, and dexterity. Toughness, fast hands, and dexterity, those are the three, I'm sorry, that I use almost with everything. And I mean, your main perk can either be scavenger if you have that unlocked, or whatever. So I mean, like I said, it's a decent weapon. It's not going to change your gameplay like you think it's going to. So if you're going into this DLC thinking that you're going to get a brand new weapon out of it that you can use in any situation, it's not going to be that for you. I really recommend using it for use it more like an assault rifle. Don't think just because it says SMG that you're going to be rushing in using a laser sight and a silencer, even if you like using silencers, and be getting, you know, 30-0 gameplay kills. You're not going to be able to do that. It's not like it's a learning curve or anything like that. It's just not the weapon that you think it is. So that's my personal feel on it. I mean, other people may be able to get better results out of it. I'm not exactly sure. I figured I was using it decently. So that's my thoughts on that. As far as the maps in this DLC, I am indifferent. The maps seem to be very, very tight-knit with regards to the skate map, grind, and the other map. What is it called? The snow map. I don't remember what that's called. Resort or whatever it is. Those two maps are extremely tight-knit, and you wouldn't really expect them to be. When you kind of get into them, they seem like really big maps, and they really aren't. As far as this map and the hydro map, which you'll see here in just a moment, those two are also kind of tightly knit, but they almost feel more open. It's kind of weird how it makes you feel when you're playing. This map by far is my favorite map out of the four. It just feels the most versatile, I guess you would say, when it comes to gameplay. I was playing Team Deathmatch on this particular footage here, and it seemed a lot more open-ended, versatile. You can go into a lot of different corners and things like that, and I hate corners, but you can go into them if you would like. And then Hydro kind of feels that same way too. There's not a lot of questioning where your enemies will come from. It's a lot more open, but even though it almost feels like a smaller map too. I don't know, it's hard to explain, I guess. It definitely feels, both of the two maps that I'm talking about here definitely feel like they could have been more open-ended, but they suck you in with certain things in the map, I guess you could say. I don't know. Hydro is actually a really good map too. You'll see here in just a second, they use this middle thing here, the little middle water area here, as a train depot type situation where every once in a while it will pour out water like that, and of course you will fight the current at that point, and you will get either pushed off, or you can get killed by it or whatever, much like the train in the train depot map or whatever. It works a lot like that, and there are obstacles in the way of the water that you can hide yourself behind and make sure that you don't die, but if you're not paying attention, then you most definitely can and will die in that type of situation. As far as score streaks using score streaks on this map, it seems fairly easy to use. The only map that I would ever have quarrels about using lethal kill streaks on is the grind map, because a lot of the action actually happens inside of the building, and there are not a lot of windows where you can get one of those lightning strikes in, or a predator missile or anything, or not a predator missile, wow, a Hellstorm missile. There's not a lot of situations where you can do that in grind. The other three maps, I think using score streaks, or lethal score streaks, I'm sorry, would be just fine. The new DLC comes in its own playlist, of course, and it has Domination, Team Deathmatch, and Mosh Pit. I recommend doing Domination. The objectives in this, other than the snow map, are actually really good. The snow map is absolutely horrible, though. Kind of opposite spectrum there. It's terrible. B is by far the hardest thing to capture on the snow map. It is, without a doubt, the worst placement for that. If the team in Domination were to capture B early on in the game, they would most likely win if they were able to defend it correctly. And that's a bit of a downfall to that map, but it's not. It shouldn't steer you away. It should even make you want to do team play a little bit more. Which, as you saw a couple clips ago, it seems that people are using these small maps, or at least seemingly small maps, to really move in groups. A lot of them were using groups of 2 or 3 and just going on to objectives and murdering everybody at the objective. So it really focuses on team play, which Black Ops has been doing a good job of doing anyways because of the objective style score streaks and stuff like that. If you were to play an objective game with a team, then you would obviously get more score streaks and things like that. So, but as for an overall view of this DLC, I'll finish off with that here. As for an overall view, I like it. It's an interesting thing. I'm really looking forward to doing the zombie mode, which I will play here very shortly, and that will be a separate video. Hopefully I can get that on anyways today. It's interesting. The gun is not spectacular. I was really hoping for more out of the gun. I think, really honestly, my whole opinion on the gun is that if the damage output were just slightly higher, it would be a lot better of a weapon. But if you're looking to try and get a new SMG, you're looking in the wrong spot. You might as well stick with your old MSMC or your PDWs. Those are still going to be probably the weapons of choice once people realize how horrible sometimes the Peacekeeper can be. And I reference that with saying that this is not a terrible weapon. I'm sure, like I said before, I'm sure a lot of people can get better results out of this than I could. And I'm sure as I continue to use it and things like that, I'll get better with it. But as for a pickup weapon, it's decent, I would say. So yeah, that's pretty much all of my thoughts on this weapon. I recommend getting the DLC. It's only 1,200 Microsoft points if you have the money to buy it. A lot of people are going to be making videos on it and things like that, and the maps are pretty good maps, honestly. Other than Grind and the snow map, other than those two maps having, you know, issues every once in a while, they're actually really good maps. The snow map is by far the least favorite of mine, though, if I had to choose. So anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. I know I ramble on a lot, but hopefully the dying multiple times kept you entertained, as well as my sexy voice. Let me know what you guys actually think of this. If you did buy it, if you got the season pass and you have it now, let me know what you think about that in the comments. I would really appreciate you guys giving me some feedback on it as well. Yeah, just let me know. Anyways, follow me at Twitter, at mEcHjaW, facebook.com/mEcHjaW if you guys want to see some updates and just random funny things that I post. Sometimes not funny things. I don't know. It's crazy. Share the video how you will. Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. And I will talk to you all later.